All right, good
So
afternoon,
many
traders.
charts.
Today is
Just down,
April
down,
30th,
down,
last day of the
down,
month.
up,
Tomorrow morning,
up,
remember to say
down,
rabbit.
down.
Okay, that's for good
Almost
luck.
up. Walmart.
Okay, so, hey,
So
today's
many charts
for
are deep
April
down.
30th, 2025. My name is
I guess we've
John
got some
Kerrigan.
earnings, right?
I'm the lead instructor here at BYOB
Microsoft at some
Trading.
point.
Hey, let's go look at some charts. I want to thank everybody here in the room that subscribes. Thank you. I don't take your subscriptions for granted.
Rickster, you're
Try to
eating now,
provide
buddy.
valuable content every day. I try to provide actionable trades every single day. Thank
Guys
you so
and gals,
much
I
for
gotta
being
run.
here.
You guys take
And
care.
thank
We'll
you
see
for
you
your
tomorrow.
subscriptions.
Have a
Thank
great
you, everybody out there in digital land, cyber land, podcast land. Thank you so much for finding the value in my content. All right, enough of that. Let's go take a look at some charts. All right, SPY on a 10-minute. Yeah, I'd call that a 10-minute uptrend. All right, so we got price candles on top of the 3, on top of the 8. All right, so we got a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close all the way up to 557. What do we got? 557 there? Yeah, 550. Oh yeah, 557 into the close. Well, there's that consolidation we had yesterday that we were waiting and waiting for the pop. Evidently, they had some other plans for us. Okay, while we were waiting in this bull flag for the pop up, they pulled the rug. All right, I'm just gonna say it. They pulled the rug out and dropped us all the way down to 540 right here, and then from there they put in the bullish engulfing move here. Got back up on top of VWAP. So what do we trade today? All right, we got a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay, so it wasn't any red erases green, or green erases red, because it didn't go far enough to have green erases red, except for the last candle. It's hard to trade the last candle, okay, because you're pretty much going to be done in about 15-30 minutes. All right, on the last candle. So we had a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP right here, breaking the rubber band candle. We traded that up to here, and then we stuck with it throughout this and all the way up into here, into this bull flag, and then we got rewarded at the end of the day with a 3-candle push, okay, up over VWAP the whole day. This was a trend day, okay? If you didn't know it, we had a 10-minute uptrend between the hours of 11 and noon, all right? 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. This was a trend day. They never gave it up after that. Okay, so first 15 minutes range right here, you can see price ripped up, pulled back. We bought the bounce right out of the range. They did it again. We bought the second bounce out of the range, and then wound up in this bull flag up here to be rewarded after staying with it for 2 hours. It looked like they were going to go. Then they said, and then they turned around and went at the very end of the day. So there's SPY on the 10-minute chart. Take a look at the 2-hour chart. That's going to look funny. All right. So 2-hour chart has a bearish cross and then a bullish cross right after that. And you can see price is in a 2-hour uptrend. Let's take off the pre-market. See what it looks like without the pre-market on the 2-hour. Yeah, we got a cross right here, and then it crosses back up over. All right, so closing out the day with 2-hour uptrend. On the daily chart, what did we get? We got an outside day. We got a higher high and a lower low, and we closed over the bullish trap, over the 17 EMA. All right, this will be our 4th day closing up over all-time high anchored VWAP. Look out above. We're coming for you. All right, so there's the daily chart. And we are at the midpoint, so we're in an uptrend because we made a higher high. And we're at the midpoint, so we're neutral. All right. On the 2-day chart, still in a downtrend. 3-day chart, still in a downtrend. Weekly chart, still in a downtrend. Monthly chart, whopper tail there. Look at that tail. Biggest. That's a big tail. Some of this, you could fit 2 of these candles, 3 of these candles inside this tail. Crazy tail right there. That's some wild price action. course, volatility spiked huge in that tail right there. Okay, so the monthly chart is in an uptrend. Okay, in order to take out the downtrend, we'd have to come all the way down here and take out that low. So monthly chart still in an uptrend. All right, let's take a look at the game plan. You can see probably didn't work because we gapped way down this morning. Okay, see the game plan right here. We gapped way down, so all you needed was a red candle, all right, to jump in on. Or if you traded the first 15 minutes, you got to play that candle, only to have it reverse on you the very next candle on the 5-minute chart. On the 10-minute chart, you got to break out and it reversed on you the very next candle right there. But we did get that 10-minute uptrend. Here's that 10-minute uptrend breaking the rubber band candle over VWAP. We were able to stay with that almost till the end of the day to get rewarded all the way up here, 556. So here's the breakout that we were expecting yesterday. I took the long way around, went all the way around the house just to open the front door when they were on the front steps. It's kind of weird, but they got us there. All right, so there's SPY on the 10-minute chart. You saw the daily chart that's neutral. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ, same deal, gap down. All right, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP was tradable all the way up into the close. Kind of hold on to that, up over VWAP into the close. Okay, so this is what price should be. This is VWAP. This is actually what price should be. It's the average of buyers and sellers selling right here. Now, if price is way up over VWAP, that means institutions, okay, are willing to pay more than what price should be to purchase it. Okay, so that's bullish sentiment right there. Okay, and that makes me want to buy an uptrend. That makes me want to buy into something like this. If institutions feel this way, I want to follow what they're doing. So we had a nice 10-minute uptrend right into the close. So there's QQQ. Let's take a look at QQQ on the daily chart and look at it over here. Outside day looks like the same thing as SPY. Higher high, lower low, closing over the bullish trap over the 17. Fourth day in a row up over the all-time high anchored VWAP right here at the midpoint. That's neutral. Okay, price goes down, gives it up. That's neutral. Same thing, price goes up and gives it up. That's neutral. Okay, so we're at the midpoint right here, so that's just neutral. We're in an uptrend because here's a high, and they made a higher high. So they made a higher low and a higher high. So that puts them in an uptrend. If they lose this uptrend and happen to come all the way back down here, take out that low, well, they will negate the uptrend and convert it back into a downtrend. All right? Right now, we're looking good. We're holding the higher ground. It's been 4 days. All right? Maybe we get a nice push tomorrow. All right? I'm expecting a push tomorrow. 4 days up here. Over all-time high anchored VWAP. Usually, 4th, 5th day, you get a push. We'll see what happens, but I am expecting a push tomorrow. All right, on both SPY and QQQ. Let's take a look at FNGA. FNGA price action no longer in the lower third. So price is in neutral. All right. What do we get here? It got high there of 401.23. We got a high here of 487. All right, so we got lower high, lower low, but we closed over the bullish trap, over the 17 EMA. All right, price action closing over the downtrend line, but under the all-time high anchored VWAP. So just here in neutral land, okay, they were all the way down here. They're no longer in the lower third, so they're just neutral, FNGA. All right, they do have earnings coming up tonight and tomorrow night, so could see some wild movement coming from the FNGA. All right, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. All right, Diamond Dow it's in an uptrend. It's got a higher low and made a higher high right here. Outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over the bullish trap, over the 17. Still under this downtrend line and moving up. No longer in the lower third, so that's neutral. Under the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's the pink line there, and under the midpoint. Okay, so Diamond Dow just neutral right here. All right, it's in an uptrend. FNGA in an uptrend. Diamond Dow in an uptrend. SPY in an uptrend. QQQ in an uptrend. Let's take a look at IWM, aka the Russell 2000. Okay, Russell 2000 still on it. This is the pink line right there. It's the all-time high anchored VWAP right there. Okay, so IWM still in the lower third. So that's, I gotta say, that's still bearish down there in the lower third. Price candle today, lower high, lower low, closing inside. Closing above the bullish trap over the rising 17, but still in the lower third down there. So it's still bearish, not in an uptrend. They have to take out this high to make an uptrend. All right, so not in an uptrend and still bearish down here. All right, so IWM's kind of holding up the ranks from moving forward. Let's take a look at our technicals, T2122. Okay, we had a big rip down into the midpoint and a nice bounce back up into the buy zone over bot zone up here. Okay, so there's T2122. This is probably going to look red and green on T2123. Okay, what do we got on T2123? No red at all. All right, so buying from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. All right, just melting it up there, okay? Did they get higher than this yet? Did they make a significant higher high? They're making little micro higher highs. All right, that's good, but I want to see them take out this high right here. All right, right now we're in a extended bull flag where the fabric is 10 times as long as the flag pole right there. So we're extending into a little mini bull flag that's inside of a big bear flag right there. Okay, we are up over the 200 SMA and we're just kind of rounding out the bottom here. They're trying to, but they haven't made a significant higher high yet. You can see we're making little higher lows and higher highs in here, but all in all, you got to see us take out something like that. I mean, look at them. It's taken them since the 9th of April, let's just call it the 10th of April, to the end of the month here, okay, to move, you know, what took them an hour to do before, okay? See how much they move in an hour or even overnight, okay? It's taken them 20 days to do this, what took them an hour to fall out of bed with, all right? So I'm not impressed, not yet, okay? I do like what's going on. I do appreciate it, but not impressed yet, okay? This could be a setup for another push lower. That is a bear flag. All right, so we'll see what happens. T21, 23, 3-bar chart. Again, another bear flag. It's the same chart, just bigger time frame. Okay, got 3 more green candle bars. Getting some space in between the 17 EMA and the price action. We're still caught underneath the 200 SMA. Still way below 2 prior all-time highs. Still showing a bear flag. All right, maybe they can round this out. We'll see what happens. But we're still showing a bear flag. All right, just a really long bear flag. Tier 21, 23, 3-bar. On FNGA, what do we get here? We got, yeah, here's our red, then turns to green. Okay, so here's red, and then it turns to green. Okay, so they gap down, and yeah, guess what happened? The bulls filled that gap. They said, not anymore. Not anymore, Mr. Bear. And they went all the way up. Look at this rip. All the way into, that is the all-time high anchored VWAP right there, that pink line. And they just tagged it finally after, well, they haven't been there in 2 months. See, all of March and all of April. They finally tagged it at the end of April, breaking this downtrend line. So we'll see what happens here. It's looking good. I like the higher high. I like the higher low. I like the higher high. Can they continue with this? We've got earnings tonight and tomorrow night, so it'll be interesting. Let's take a look at a few sectors. Start with XLE. So here's the energy. All right, you can see it's bearish again. Okay, still in a downtrend. Okay, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish cross, under the falling 17, under downtrend line 1, downtrend line 2, all 12-month high anchored VWAP right there. Okay, so just still down here in quadrant 1. All right, so it's bearish. Okay, let's take a look at USO. Lower high, lower low, closing under the bearish trap, under the falling 17, under, that's a 3-year high anchored VWAP. That's the post-COVID high right there. Down here in quadrant 1, that's bearish and in a downtrend. Okay, bearish downtrend. XLE and USO. UNG. Yeah, UNG's in a downtrend too. And underneath this 12-month high anchored VWAP right here. Is it underneath or is it above? I'm going to give it to them. They're above it. Just barely. All right. No longer in the lower third, so they're neutral. All right. They're closing over the trap, but under the falling 17. They still got to break the downtrend line here. All right. So they got a ways to go. They're still in a downtrend because they made a lower low. You can see here's a low, there's a low, there's a low. They made lower lows, so they're still in a downtrend. Just neutral right here, okay? Neutral and still in a downtrend for UNG. Let's take a look at SMH. See what's going on here. Lower high, lower low, closing over bullish trap, over the 17. Just neutral, no longer in the lower third. Okay, still a ways to go to get to the midpoint. Still a ways to go to get to, yep, that's the all-time high anchored VWAP. Still a ways off. All right, maybe the big cap stocks can help them out. Let's see, that's SMH. So look at the big brother to the SMH, which would be the XLK. A little bit different than SMH, a little stronger, a little leaner, a little more mustard. Outside day, higher high and lower low, closing over 4th day in a row again over the bullish, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, over the bullish trap, okay, over the 17, over the midpoint, under the uptrend line, looking good. XLK, okay, that's looking good. And then we got financials also looking good. All right. Got an outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over the bullish trap, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. See, we got 5 days here, up here in over all-time high anchored VWAP. They are putting together a push right now. That's what it looks like to me. They keep making higher highs here. See this? There's a high, higher high, higher high, another higher high. Okay, so maybe a failed breakout or maybe a successful breakout. They are in the upper third. I'm going to give it to them today. All right, this morning they didn't get it. This afternoon, that's a nice push and a nice recovery. So they're bullish in the upper third up there. Okay, so XLF bullish and in an uptrend. Higher low, higher highs. Okay, and over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Where's XLK? Are they over the all-time high? I think they are. Yeah, they are. Okay, so we could see a rally. It's probably going to be a rally without the transports. Well, transports are trying to find their way out of the darkness of the bearish 1/3 here. All right, they're still in the lower third, so they're still bearish. Outside day for them, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17. Well underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, well underneath the midpoint. Trying to climb out of the bearish zone down here. That's the lower third. So there's IYT. Got some work to do. All right. They seem to be working on it. That's a nice candle for today. That represents a whole lot of buyers right there. To take it from this low and drive it all the way back up over these last 3 days highs right there. That's a nice work. Can they do it again tomorrow? Maybe a push. Maybe tomorrow will be the day. All right, Mel wears NIMO today. Mel is an on toss. John, stupid question. What is the rubber band candle? The rubber band candle is, I will go back to the SPY. And I want the 10-minute chart because I trade the 10-minute chart. So the 10-minute rubber band candle, all right, is, see that VWAP would be our point of interest because we like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. So the rubber band candle winds up being the free floating candle after the big spike candle. Okay, so you take the biggest spike candle and then that makes this one right here the rubber band candle. And usually in my book or in my theory, if price can break over the top of that, then the energy to snap it back down to the VWAP has been broken, and it's got probably an 85 to 90% chance that it's going to continue moving in the upward direction because it broke that rubber band candle. Okay, so big spike candle and then the free floating candle after it. Now, it's relative to the point of interest, and for us, the point of interest is most always the VWAP, okay? It can be the same thing whether you're dealing with a high, a low, a trend line. It could be anything that you want to make it relative to say, okay, when that breaks, I'm going to get into this trade. Okay, if it's a way of saying, if price can show me that they can break the rubber band candle, I want in on it. Okay, that's why I created the rubber band candle. All right, if it can break this, which I call the relative energy that could likely call it back to VWAP, to the trend line, to the high, to the low. All right, that's why I call it the rubber band candle. And it happens on both time frames. It happens on any time frame, but this one happens to be the 10-minute chart. Okay, now everyone's going to have a different one. 5-minute chart, the candle might be a different candle, obviously, because it's a 5-minute chart. Okay, so let's take a look at this right here. Just going to move this out of the way if I can find there it is. All right, let's move this out. Well, I took everything off. Didn't want to do that. All right, anyways, here's a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. And you can see here is the big spike candle. That's the free floating candle, this doji right here. After it, right here, this doji. And you can see after they break that, then I want in on it to get up to here. Okay, here's another 10-minute uptrend. There's the big spike. There's the rubber band candle. They break that. Then I want in on this next candle. All right, and to trade it up to here. All right, I want in on this next candle to trade that up to here. All right, and let's go back a little bit further. You got a rubber band candle on the southern direction too here. All right, so here you have a price underneath VWAP. Here's the big spike candle right here. Big spike candle, and then here's the free floating candle right there. See this? It's not attached to VWAP. That's the free floating that extends past that candle there. That means on the very next candle for me, that says to me I want in on this move to the downside because it seems like they broke the energy that has called price back up. Because if you look at it, let's just look at this price action. All right, but we're going to look at it, okay, on a 2-minute chart. Okay, so I'm going to look at that price action on a 2-minute chart, and let me pan my way over there to it. Okay, there's the move up. Okay, here's where the day begins. Okay, notice price, this is a 2-minute chart, not the 10-minute. Notice price comes down. Okay, underneath VWAP, comes down, but then it gets called back up. Okay, these are 2-minute candles. Then it goes down again, but it gets called back up. Then it goes down again, and it gets called back up. All right, so now we got the rubber band candle coming along. All right, and notice it's not attached to VWAP here anymore. All right, so when that breaks that, then I can see energy would probably be broken, and now price is free to fall because there's no bungee, cord to like have them bounce right back up to VWAP. All right, so that's the rubber band candle. All right. Roger, is the spike candle important? Yeah, it is, because it helps define which candle is going to be the rubber band candle. It's not a tradable one, but it helps define the rubber band candle, because without the spike candle, which candle are you going to use for your rubber band candle? All right, so that's the only reason it's important, but that's about it. All right. Sorry, I seem to have missed the chart for T2122. Can I show it again? Yes. Right there. MSOS. Let's see what we got here. MSOS. I still like MSOS. I liked it yesterday. I like it again today. Okay. It's looking good. I think it's looking good. It's looking to go higher. I would look to take profit right here. See this? You've got some resistance right there. See how price is on top? Now it's underneath it right there. 356. How high did you get today? I think you got underneath this right here. Yeah, that was a profit taking place right there. If they can climb on top of that and hold that. I said they're probably coming there soon, and they did. They went right to where I said they're coming, because remember yesterday, price was at 280, and I said if they go here, look for, take some profits right there. If they climb on top of it and hold the higher ground right there, then you'd be interested in taking it from there if they create a launch pad up to the downtrend line. Okay? On that one, Robert, remember that? All right? This was looking good. It's still bullish. All right? But I want to see them. Now they've already touched this. All right? So now I need to see them get on top of this. Or lean on it and grind away at the overhead supply up ahead, up above. All right, so this is looking good. All right, is bullish right now. All right, I don't know how long it stays bullish. There is a downtrend line that it will eventually run into if it wants to get to the all-time high anchored VWAP, or the 1-year high anchored VWAP, which is up here at $6. Okay, so it's working right now. All right, I'm still bullish, but now that we've hit that trade's over. So let's see on 10-minute. Remember I said if you get a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, that's a playable event. So here's a gap down. Here's your 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. I guess somebody made the announcement that they're going to reschedule some drug paraphernalia or something, I don't know, and we got to pop up to that. Okay, so, and they're holding the higher ground. Okay, so as long as they stay in that upper third, you're bullish. All right, you got to stay in the upper third. We came back to the midpoint and they recaptured the upper third, so that's bullish up there. All right, as long as they stay in that upper third and keep knocking away at overhead supply. If they fail to do that, then we have to wait for the next 10-minute uptrend that takes them back up and over it. All right, so there's price action for that right now, MSOS. And the other one was, I think you said, he asked me for ISRG, Intuitive Surgical. All right, on the daily chart, showing a head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders, right here. Okay, break the neckline, you're looking to go up from there. Okay, you got right shoulder, left shoulder. Maybe the right arm can extend up to where the left arm left off. All right, I would look for price. Once it gets to that peak right there, it's got to get past that. See that peak between the two valleys? It's got to get right through there. You've got a W going on here. All right, once you get over that, it looks good. Again, you got to get on top of this, 521. All right, then it looks good and it looks free to go. If they can break that and hold that higher ground. Right now it's looking good. They're up here, they've held for 5 days, and they're leaning on that overhead supply. So this looks ready to pop. Okay? Looks ready to pop. Hopefully they can get over that peak right there. First target would probably be, see this valley between two peaks? Would be right there, or the top of this peak right there. Got a lot of consolidation up there. So 551.94 first target, second target 562.88. That's looking bullish right now. All right, so they got a downtrend, and it looks like they're breaking that downtrend right there. Okay, see that? There's your downtrend. All I'm doing is stringing two peaks together, and it looks like they're breaking through right there right now. Okay? Roger, what if there is a free-floating candle but no spike candle? I think if you look to the left, you'll find something of a spike candle. Unless you're talking about it just gaps right down to it. Do you have a picture you could show me? Because you seem to have something on your chart that you're looking at that you're not sure what it is. Could you share your chart with me? Show me what you're talking about. MGNI. Share that chart, Roger. Take a photo of it. And MGNI is it broke this downtrend, but that's way too steep anyways. Okay. Nothing says it doesn't need to swing out like this. That's a bear flag. See that? We're looking at the same thing on T2123. Okay, it's just huge. All right. So that's a bear flag, and look what happened. Now you're getting another bear flag. Okay. If they can take out that peak, they'll negate the downtrend. Right now they're kind of in a downtrend still. See, there's the high. And they haven't made a higher high. They have in this pullback right through here. This is just a pullback so far. Not really crazy about it. You know, I'm not. I think there's better stuff to trade. I'm not crazy about it at all. It's looking like it's setting up a head and shoulders inverted. All right, but they haven't quite formed that right shoulder yet. All right, and Roger shares that. So I don't like it. I don't know how to say it other than I don't like it. And you got resistance here, and you're back underneath See the support, obviously I think I looked at this before. We needed to get up here and hold. And you can see we had trouble holding 2 red candles, and now we're back underneath it. All right, so I don't like it unless they can get up here and hold that higher ground. See that? That was resistance, and it said we needed to get up there and hold. And they didn't recover today when everybody else did. So that's a caution flag right there. Why couldn't they get back up there and hold? This is only $11.89. Okay, they could have gotten back up there and held. It's not that far away, and they failed to do that. So I'm not convinced that this is the one I want to put my money into. And I don't see a trade that I like either on it. It's not good enough. I would pass on that. I would stick to maybe MSOS or CGC or something like that. You're welcome. And Roger shares his chart, and I'm going to do my best to try to, you know what, I'm just going to download it. And because I can't see it, it's very small. And downloads, there it is. Okay, you're following this. So what if there's, okay, these are all spike candles here. See this? That's a spike. That's a spike. That's a spike. That's a spike right there. So you got, it looks like these are rubber band candles. That's the biggest spike right there. So there's the biggest spike. There's the free floating candle that comes right after it. And of course you can see the bears take it out right there. You got a bearish reversal. See that? Immediately you got a bearish reversal saying not to take this trade. So the very next candle, they break the top, all right, but they don't close up there. Instead, they close all the way down here as if price is being pulled back to VWAP. All right, so you can see the energy in this. They spike it just a little bit here, but they really just price gets pulled back to VWAP, and then it gets crushed right here. All right. So that's the spike candle. There's the rubber band. You can see price action gets recalled all the way back down. How many minute chart is that? I'm looking to see. It's a 5 minute. Is that right? 5 minute? Yeah. So that got a bearish reversal right there. All right. I mean, you could take it without waiting for it to finish. But if I saw that finish right there, all right, I'd say, well, maybe I better wait for the next candle. Okay, you want something that continues higher. And it wasn't a green candle, it was a red one. All right, so that I would want to see where that closed. All right, so there's your spike, there's your rubber band. They snaked you right here. They got two, like a little couple pennies up there, and they turn around and come right back, right down through VWAP or whatever that line is. Is that VWAP? Looks like some kind of a channel right there. So you have a spike candle. It's just not a big spike candle. It's the biggest one there, and there's the rubber band. And you can see bearish engulfing happens right after it. What is that blue line? Because you hit that blue line and reversed on a dime, whatever that blue line is. You bought POW today. Thoughts on POW? Yeah. Let me just finish with Roger. Roger traded it short. Okay. Means you pierce the point of interest. Yes. Yeah. You pierce it, like you drive price through it. All right, in some form or fashion. It might go all the way through. It might go through and come back. But either way, you pierce it. All right. How do I book a session with me? You find me on Teams and contact me on Teams. I'm going to put an invite right now. Let me see if I can invite to Teams. All right. So log into Teams, copy. Log into Teams and use this link and see if you can get a hold of me. If not, we'll get a hold of each other eventually. Right there. There's the link for Teams. All right. And Mel says, is the spike candle the white candle with the wick? Yes, that was it. How do I book a session? I got that. Mel asked me something right after Robert did, and Robert wants POW. And let's go take a look at POW. POW's bullish. You made a higher high. Consolidation breakout. I don't know how high it goes. Bear in mind you had sellers here and here and here. All right. Well, this is your 1, 2, about your third time here. So we'll see what happens. Okay, they break out. We want them to hold. They got to hold over this breakout. So this is the breakout point. Look for them to rally up. Okay, out of the box, rally up. And if they come down and retest the box, look for the bounce up. Okay? They're ripping up out. Look for them to come back and retest. Higher low, higher high. This is bullish. Right there. I like it. Look for them to retest the high if they break out over this. Just be careful. You got wicks here, wicks here. Okay? Since July of last year, every time they got into this area, they've been selling it. So it's been a while, almost a year, since we've been back to this wick. It's 10 months. All right, so I wouldn't be surprised to see price get bearish engulfing tomorrow, back down underneath that peak between the two valleys. All right, and then if it can recover and get back up here and hold, that'll be interesting. All right, so this is looking good. It's just watch that wick, okay? Because they've been selling up here before, so let's see what they do tomorrow. Can they hold it up here? All right, if they can hold it, that's a bullish environment. Notice they held it underneath, and then after 4 days, you can see it. I mean, it's like clockwork, traders. All right. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, then you get a breakout. It's almost like clockwork, all right? Let's take a look at XLE. Okay, not XLE. What was the one I wanted to see? XLK. Okay, see, up over all-time high. VWAP holding the higher ground. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look for 5, or I'll bet we get a push tomorrow. All right, and a breakout. Now, it might be a really good breakout. It might be a failed breakout, but I'll bet it breaks out. Okay, see how that POW did the same thing. Okay, see, it holds that higher ground for 4 days, and then boom, there it goes. Got shot out of a gun right there. All right, so that's bullish. The only thing you got to watch is that wick right there to see if they can in fact neutralize that wick. Has enough time passed where that wick is no longer relevant? Because the last time we were there, sellers showed up and they brought us all the way down to here. All right, so watch that wick, see if they can hold it up here. And that's bullish. Higher low, higher high, that's bullish. That's an uptrend. ABAT. You know what? I had two starred for today, 5 and somebody else. That's rounded bottom breakout right there. You're breaking out right there. You're up over the base. It's just right there. It's breaking out. That's bullish right now. Okay. As far as downtrends go, you could probably draw a line here. That's probably way too steep to draw a line to. And then you could probably draw another one right here. Okay, and then you could probably draw another one right here. And then right here. And you can just see like all of these, it's just now finally breaking these downtrend lines right through there. Okay, so let's look at this. It's up over the base. It's a breaking out. It's only your second day of breakout. Where are you going to find resistance? Right there. See the bottoms of this? Right there. So you got to get up on top of 179 and hold. Either that or you form a grinder box right underneath it in the upper third that grinds away at overhead supply. Okay, so you've got on AMAT, you've got resistance right here. See the bottom of that wick, right there. Okay, you've got resistance right there. Right about there. Okay, so you're either going to form a box in the upper third. It has to be in the upper third. And you decide to camp out up here and grind away at overhead supply. That would be bullish. Or you get up here and you climb on top of it. All right, you break through and then pull back and then test it to make sure it holds, and then you rip, kind of like an MMRP. All right, so maybe an MMRP is coming for this. All right, watch for that to happen. All right, so I want to get up and I want to see it hold over resistance. In other words, I want to see resistance get converted to support. All right, right now you're still underneath it. Okay, you broke through this resistance right here. All right, right there, you broke through that resistance right there. You may be coming down to test that. All right, hopefully not. Hopefully you're going up here to come back and test this. All right, so you broke through resistance there. See how they got up underneath it, Mel? All right, and they made, see the grinder box? You can see the grinder box. Okay, see the grinder box in the upper third? Right there, grinder box in the upper third. See? In the upper third, grinder box, grinding away overhead supply. Eventually, they wear them out and they break through. All right, they grind away at the wall, and eventually a hole opens up and they can get through. Well, you want the same thing to happen over here. Okay, so you want the same thing to happen here in the upper third. You want to see them grind away at overhead supply, all right, and eventually break through. All right, either that or break through and come back and hold the higher ground. In other words, hold up on top of support now. You want to convert it to support. Okay? You want to buy that? Go ahead. All right? Me, I would wait. I would wait till I saw what I wanted. This, see that grinder box? You watch Rick, a lot of Rick's setups, all right? They're grinder boxes. They're or Doug's setups sometimes. A lot of them are. They're rounded bottom breakouts that have formed a grinder box right here to grind away at overhead supply, and lo and behold, almost all of them break through. Some go on for days, some go on and fail after a couple candles, but that's his setup, is that grinder box launch pad, and then boom, there goes price. He's really good at it. Okay, so watch this to form another grinder box. All right, does that make sense? How do we create the green box? I just take this and go like that. That's it. It's this box here. Now you can edit it. Mine just happens to be green and green. You can change the colors. Like I can change the colors here. I can change this to, let's say I want white and white. So now it's white and white. So now it's white and white. I like green and green because I don't like bright lights. They hurt my eyes. So I like green and green. Yeah, from a bull flag. Exactly. It's a bull flag breakout. Yep. Would resistance be 250? Now you got resistance right here, 175. Is there resistance at 250? Yeah, you got a valley. You got resistance right here. See that valley between two peaks? Okay, that's going to be a target if they get through. That'd probably be where tomorrow's candle goes. Right there to that little, see that little tail? I bet it goes right to that little tail, and then it pulls back, and then it forms an MMRP. Right there. I bet it goes there tomorrow. 250 resistance. Well, this is going to be a target right there. $2. 250. 270. 270 looks like resistance. See right up there, 269, 270. See where the top of all these wicks stop? One breaks through, but then the bears push it back through. Right there. So 270. That one's 210 or 205. See that right there? Okay. ISRG. Yes, it is. It is doing the grinder box. It's exactly right. It's doing the bull flag, or as I call it, the grinder box, where they're grinding out overhead supply. And if we look at this, okay, it's in the upper third. All right. If they lose that upper third, it's not the same thing anymore. And they've been there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. So you watch, maybe tomorrow or the next day, I would not be surprised to see them shoot through and challenge this high right here. Hopefully they get past that. All right. But that will be the first breakout right there. We'll go to this high right there. That's a peak between two valleys right there. Yeah, that is a grinder box. It's in the upper third. All right, and it's grinding away at overhead resistance. Resistance is formed by sellers. Right there. All right, traders, that's it for me. All right, I'm parched. I need something to drink. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you all see you all at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right? All right. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Hope you all made some money. I hear a lot of people made some money today. All right? Just saying, a lot of people in the room made some money today. Nice 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. You can stick with it, and we did. All right? So a lot of people made some profits today. All right, just saying, if you don't have a subscription, you should really think about it. I pointed it out in the room here today. Let me just show you. I said, hey traders, I said, hey, right here we've got green erases red. Okay, and I pointed it out right there. Okay, green erases red right there, over 550, and we broke out over 550. And we had this 10-minute uptrend right there. Okay. Played the 10-minute uptrend. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow, 8 o'clock. We'll do it again. Make some more profits. Let's do it. All right. I'm thinking we're going to get a push. All right. After today's recovery, I'm thinking they really want to push. Why stop now? All right. They got the Momo. Keep it going. Thanks, Fido. Thanks, JA. Thanks, Alpha Dog, Robert, everybody, Mel, everybody. Have a beautiful evening. Thank you. Have a good night.